guys, what's up and welcome to Cosplay Curious. I'm CuriousJoi. I wanted to cosplay as something just a little different, so I'm going to do a mashup between Captain America and Cinderella and have Captain Cinderella be born. Let's get started making magic. Let me go over some of the things you're going to need. Of course, you're going to need a pattern, fabric, in this case red, white, and blue, scissors, and what I like to call a pizza cutter, a cutting board, pins, elastic for the skirt, and your trusty band-aids because you never know what's gonna happen. I'm using the Simplicity brand pattern, which is Cinderella in a shorter skirt because you can't go off fighting Hydra in a ball gown. When you open up a pattern, it gives you the instruction booklet and it shows you which designs you're able to make. Each pattern that you get has different various sizes, so be sure to cut out the pieces that you need. Me personally, I like cutting out all of the different sizes because you never know what pieces you're going to need, because it's easier to take stuff in than it is to take stuff out. The patterns are very sensitive and can rip very easily because they're made out of tissue paper. And make sure you cut just a little bit outside of the lines too. We're basically going to cut out all the pieces for Cinderella so you can put the pattern away and never see it again. Now that we have all the pieces cut out, let's start laying out the fabric to cut. You gotta make sure, since you are cutting on the fabric when it's folded, we have to make sure that the bottom piece lays super flat so that way your pattern pieces will match. So now that the skirt is all cut out, we remove the pattern piece and see that it's one side. So this is one side of the skirt, so you have to cut out two of these in order to put the pieces together and you have one complete skirt. So now that we have all the pieces cut out, let's start sewing. So I've already sewn both parts of the skirt together, but I left this side open so that way we can get this elastic sewn in. So let's sew it in now. So once you're done with the elastic, what you do is sew both of the open sides of the skirt together and you have a completed skirt. I know what you're thinking, this may look a little crazy to you, but that's okay. I already plan on wearing this belt over it. So all your pieces are numbered in the order that it's supposed to lay down on your corset. So this is piece 5, which will be your last one, piece 1, which is your first one, piece 2, which connects to piece 1, and then piece 4 that came from over there. And then just pin it down so that way it doesn't go anywhere. So now that we have everything pinned, it's time to cut. Let's take our little pizza cutter. And be sure to cut around the outside of the fabric so you have some, leeway to actually sew. You gotta push hard to make sure you cut both sides because you don't wanna have to go back, but sometimes you're gonna have to. So there you have it. When you take out your piece that you just cut out, the pattern comes with it, and then keep it on there because you wanna remember what piece this is. So let's do that with all the pieces that we have here. Now that all of your pieces are cut out, it's time to piece them together. As you notice, I was using a deeper blue than the one that Cinderella usually wears. That is because we're making Captain Cinderella, so I picked the color that's closest to Captain America's Age of Ultron outfit. Now that we have laid everything out, it doesn't exactly look like how you would think a corset would look, but that's why we pin everything together before we sew, just to know that it will fit the way that it's supposed to. So now that we've pinned it all together, it's time to see if it makes any sense at all. Looks like it makes sense to me. So now let's get started on the corset. As you remember, it's 2 different sections. So we're gonna sew one section and then the other, and then put both sides together. And then once we make sure that everything is looking all right, we sew it all to the back. So let's start on one side first. Now that both sides are pin free and sewn, let's put them together. So now that both sides are all put together, let's make sure that it is the way that you need it to be. All right, both sides touch. We're good, so we can sew the back together. So we're not making Cinderella here, guys. We need this to look a little bit more like Captain America. But before I go into Captain America details, we're gonna add sleeves. So we just pin it onto the front part of the corset and then sew it together. Now it's time to start hand sewing. I pinned the sleeves, so let's get them on and then start adding the Captain America detail. Now that the sleeves are sewn to the corset, it's time to add the star and the stripes because that is how you know it's Captain America. I got the star on Amazon and we're gonna cut out strips of the red and white fabric and hand sew it to the corset. So right now I'm measuring the fabric so that way it lines up right underneath the bust line because we don't want the entire thing to be red and white, we just want the bottom part. It doesn't want to wrap around the entire corset, it's literally only the front patch. So you don't need that much red and white fabric. This line seems about right. So once you have it lined up for the bust line, you just make your cut. And you make sure you cut it in the exact same area as you did on this side to this side. So now that you have the red and the white fabric cut out, it's time to make the stripes. You fold it back so that way there's no fraying, and then you place it. And then you also fold the sides of the fabric too, because you're gonna end up sewing it that way. So now that we got the red pinned down only at the top, because we're going to have to overlap the white underneath the red. The white doesn't go over the red, it goes underneath it. So we're gonna take the white and we're gonna fold it down just like we did with the red, and place it next to it and put the red over the white. Pin this down while it's folded, and then fold the red and then pin that down. And then you basically repeat this with the remaining stripes that you have and then start sewing. So now that I have finished sewing in my stripes, it's time to add on the star. So we're gonna put the star directly in the center, and we know where the center is because that is where we put the two pieces together. Well, here it is, the outfit is done. But you know, Cinderella is nothing without her shoes. We're not doing that whole glass slipper thing. We lose a shoe or two. We're doing boots. Not losing these puppies. If you want to see the completed look, you can click here and see me get a full hair and makeup tutorial and see everything on. I'm excited. Are you excited? Well, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the ICONnetwork, and I will be seeing you guys later. Bye.